Hello, everyone, and welcome to this brand new lesson on Learnify English. My name is Lauren, and I am so excited to be here with you today. In this video, we are going to explore something powerful and very practical. Real English for real-life use. These advanced English phrases for fast fluency. Now, before we begin, I want to remind you to subscribe to Learnify English and click the like button. When you subscribe, you get access to more free lessons like this one, designed to help you speak English fluently and confidently. And when you like this video, you help more learners around the world discover this lesson too. So go ahead, click subscribe, and let's learn together. All right, let's get started. Many English learners study vocabulary and grammar for years, but when they meet a native speaker, they often feel stuck. They know the rules, but they don't know how to sound natural. This is because real-life English is not only about basic words or grammar, it is about using phrases. Phrases are groups of words that native speakers use all the time in daily conversations. They make your English sound natural, fluent, and confident. Today, I am going to teach you some advanced but simple phrases that you can use in real situations, no matter where you live. And remember, when I say advanced, it doesn't mean difficult. It means phrases that go beyond the basic textbook level. They are the phrases that real people use in real conversations. My goal is to make these phrases easy to learn, easy to remember, and easy to use. Let's begin with our first phrase. The first phrase is, "It's not worth it." This phrase is very common in English, and it is used when you want to say that something is not valuable enough for your time, energy, or money. For example, I thought about buying that expensive jacket, but honestly, it's not worth it. Don't spend 3 hours arguing with him. It's not worth it. This phrase shows advanced fluency because instead of saying something simple like, "Don't do that," or "That's bad," you are expressing a natural judgment, just like native speakers do. Now let's practice. Repeat after me slowly. It's not worth it. One more time. It's not worth it. Great job. The next phrase is, "I can't afford to." This is not only about money. Yes, it can mean you don't have enough money to do something. Like, "I can't afford to buy a new phone right now." But in English, it also means you cannot take the risk or you do not have the possibility to do something. For example, "I can't afford to waste time on this project." We can't afford to make mistakes in this situation. This is very advanced because you are using the phrase in a metaphorical way, not only about money. Native speakers often use it like this. Let's repeat together. I can't afford to. Good. Now, think about your own life. Can you make a sentence? Maybe, I can't afford to miss this lesson. Perfect. Next, let's learn another phrase. Let's call it a day. This phrase means to stop working or stop an activity because you feel it is enough for now. For example, after studying for 3 hours, you can say, "I think we should call it a day." At the office, when everyone is tired, "All right, team, let's call it a day." This is a friendly and natural way to end something. It is more advanced than saying stop or finish. Repeat after me. Let's call it a day. Good. Now, here is another phrase that you will hear often. I'm not really into. This is a very natural way to say you don't like something. For example, I'm not really into sports. I'm not really into horror movies. It is softer and more polite than saying I don't like. If you only say I don't like, it can sound too direct. But I'm not really into sounds natural and friendly. Repeat. I'm not really into. Great. Next phrase, I'd rather. This phrase means you prefer one thing instead of another. For example, I'd rather stay home tonight. I'd rather drink tea than coffee. This is advanced because it shows choice in a very natural way. It's more fluent than always saying I like or I want. Repeat after me. I'd rather. Wonderful. Now let's connect what we have learned so far. Imagine a conversation. Do you want to watch a horror movie? I'd rather not. I'm not really into horror movies. See how natural that sounds? You are using two advanced phrases in one short response. Let's continue with another useful phrase. It depends. This phrase is short but very powerful. Instead of always answering yes or no, you can say it depends. It means the answer can change depending on the situation. For example, do you like working from home? It depends. Sometimes it's nice, but sometimes I miss the office. This phrase is advanced because it shows flexibility in your thinking. Native speakers use it all the time. Repeat after me. It depends. Good. One more phrase for this part. I haven't made up my mind yet. This means you haven't decided yet. For example, are you going to the party? I haven't made up my mind yet. This is much more natural than just saying, I don't know. Repeat. I haven't made up my mind yet. Perfect. So, in this first part, you have already learned 8 advanced but simple phrases. It's not worth it. I can't afford to. Let's call it a day. I'm not really into. I'd rather. It depends. I haven't made up my mind yet. These are the kinds of phrases that will make your English sound fluent, confident, and natural. We will continue with more phrases that will help you in real conversations, especially in situations like making plans, expressing opinions, and sounding more confident when you speak. We are going to explore more powerful expressions that are used every day by native speakers. These will help you handle conversations in real life with confidence. Let's begin with our first phrase today. I'm having second thoughts. This phrase means you are starting to feel unsure about a decision you already made. For example, I agreed to join the trip, but now I'm having second thoughts. He was excited about starting the business, but he's having second thoughts. This is stronger than saying, I don't know. It shows that your mind is changing. Repeat with me. I'm having second thoughts. Good. Now, let's move to the next phrase. I'll keep you posted. This is a polite and natural way to say you will update someone about a situation. For example, I'm not sure when the meeting will start, but I'll keep you posted. If there are any changes, I'll keep you posted. Native speakers use this often in work and daily life. Instead of saying, I'll tell you later, you can say, I'll keep you posted. Repeat, I'll keep you posted. Excellent. Next phrase. That's easier said than done. This means something sounds simple, but in reality, it's difficult. For example, just quit your job if you don't like it. That's easier said than done. It's a polite way to show that something is more complicated than it seems. Repeat after me. That's easier said than done. Great job. Now, another phrase. Don't get me wrong. This is very useful. You use it before you say something that might sound negative, but you want the other person to know your true meaning. For example, don't get me wrong. I like working here, but sometimes it's stressful. Don't get me wrong. She's very smart, but she needs more experience. This phrase shows you are being careful and polite. Repeat. Don't get me wrong. Good. Next phrase. I'm not following you. This is a natural way to say you don't understand someone. Instead of always saying, I don't understand, you can say, sorry, I'm not following you. It sounds polite and natural in conversations. Repeat. I'm not following you. Perfect. Let's keep going. Here's another one. That rings a bell. This means something sounds familiar, but you don't fully remember it. For example, have you heard of that movie? That rings a bell. I think I've heard about it. It's a natural way to express a small memory. Repeat. That rings a bell. Excellent. Another phrase is, the ball is in your court. This is an idiomatic expression that means it's someone else's turn to make a decision or take action. For example, I've given you all the information. Now the ball is in your court. We've done our part. The ball is in their court. This phrase is very common in both business and casual English. Repeat. The ball is in your court. Good. Now, let's practice another advanced phrase. Better late than never. This is used when something happens later than expected. But at least it happened. For example, he finally finished the project. Well, better late than never. It's a positive way to look at delays. Repeat. Better late than never. Excellent. Now, let's review quickly what we learned in this part. I'm having second thoughts. I'll keep you posted. That's easier said than done. Don't get me wrong. I'm not following you. That rings a bell. The ball is in your court. Better late than never. These phrases will help you in everyday conversations, at work, with friends, and in many situations where you want to sound natural. Here's a short example, conversation using some of them. Are you still planning to move abroad? Well, I'm having second thoughts. Don't get me wrong. It's a great idea. But it's easier said than done. True. I'll keep you posted about my decision. See how natural that flows. Now you can imagine yourself using these phrases in real life. We will continue learning even more useful phrases, especially ones that help you express your opinions clearly and politely. These will make you sound confident, thoughtful, and fluent when speaking with others. We learned phrases like I'll keep you posted. That rings a bell. And the ball is in your court. These are great for everyday conversations. Now, in this part, we are going to focus on phrases that help you express your opinions politely and naturally. This is very important because in real life, you often need to share what you think, agree, or disagree. Let's begin with our first phrase. As far as I know, this phrase is a polite way to share information that you believe is correct, but you are not 100% sure. For example, as far as I know, the meeting starts at 10. As far as I know, she's still working for that company. It's more natural than just saying, I think. It shows confidence but also honesty. Repeat with me. As far as I know. Good. Next phrase. If I'm not mistaken. This has a similar meaning. You use it when you want to be polite and careful, especially when you are not completely certain. For example, if I'm not mistaken, today is his birthday. If I'm not mistaken, the train leaves at 6. Repeat. If I'm not mistaken. Excellent. Now let's move to another phrase. From my point of view. This is a polite way to give your personal opinion. Instead of saying just, I think, you can say, from my point of view, working from home is more productive. From my point of view, this project is a great opportunity. This makes your opinion sound professional and thoughtful. Repeat. From my point of view. Great. Another phrase you can use is, to be honest. This is common and very natural. You use it when you want to be direct but still sound polite. For example, to be honest, I don't really enjoy that TV show. To be honest, I think we should start earlier. It shows sincerity and honesty. Repeat. To be honest. Wonderful. Now, let's practice another phrase. At the end of the day. This means when everything is considered or finally. For example, at the end of the day, what matters most is health. At the end of the day, we all want to be happy. This phrase is advanced because it shows you can summarize your thoughts in a natural way. Repeat. At the end of the day. Perfect. Next phrase. The way I see it. This is another polite way to give your personal opinion. For example, the way I see it. This plan could work really well. The way I see it. We should try a different approach. It makes you sound clear and confident. Repeat. The way I see it. Excellent. Now, here is another useful one. It seems to me that this is softer than saying I think. It makes your opinion sound gentle and diplomatic. For example, it seems to me that he's not very interested in the project. It seems to me that we need more time. Repeat. It seems to me that. Good. And one more phrase for this part. I couldn't agree more. This is a very strong way to agree with someone. It means you completely agree. For example, this book is amazing. I couldn't agree more. It is stronger and more natural than just saying, I agree. Repeat. I couldn't agree more. Wonderful. Now let's review the phrases from this part. As far as I know, if I'm not mistaken, from my point of view, to be honest, at the end of the day, the way I see it, it seems to me that I couldn't agree more. Here's a quick example conversation using some of them. From my point of view, working from home saves a lot of time. I couldn't agree more. But at the end of the day, it depends on the company's policy. True. And as far as I know, the new policy will start next month. See how fluent and natural this sounds. When you use these expressions, you don't sound like a beginner. You sound like someone who can communicate clearly in English. Remember, fluency is not only about knowing words. It's about using the right phrases in the right moment. These expressions are your tools to sound professional, friendly, and natural. We will continue with phrases that help you handle daily situations smoothly, like making requests, offering help, and being polite in conversations. These are the phrases that will help you in real life, whether you are traveling, working, or just chatting with friends. We focused on expressing opinions politely with phrases like, from my point of view, and I couldn't agree more. Now, in this part, we are going to explore phrases that help you handle daily situations like making requests, offering help, and sounding polite in conversations. These are essential for real life because English is not just about words. It's about communication. Let's begin with our first phrase. Would you mind? This is a polite way to ask someone to do something, so, for example, would you mind opening the window? Would you mind helping me with this report? It's more polite than just saying, open the window or help me. Repeat with me. Would you mind? Good. Next phrase. Do you happen to? This is a polite way to ask if someone knows something or has something. For example, do you happen to know where the nearest bank is? Do you happen to have a pen I can borrow? This phrase makes your question sound soft and friendly. Repeat. Do you happen to? Excellent. Now let's learn another phrase. I was wondering if. This is also a polite way to ask something. It is very common in both business and casual English. For example, I was wondering if you could send me the file. I was wondering if you have any free time tomorrow. It sounds polite, professional, and natural. Repeat after me. I was wondering if. Wonderful. Another useful phrase. Can I give you a hand? This means, can I help you? For example, you look busy. Can I give you a hand? Can I give you a hand with those bags? It's friendlier and more advanced than just saying, can I help? Repeat. Can I give you a hand? Good. Next phrase. I'd really appreciate it if. This is a polite and advanced way to ask for help. For example, I'd really appreciate it if you could check this document. I'd really appreciate it if you called me tomorrow. It makes your request sound respectful and kind. Repeat. I'd really appreciate it if. Excellent. Now, another phrase. That would be great. This is a polite way to accept someone's help or suggestion. For example, shall I send you the notes? Yes. That would be great. Instead of always saying just yes or okay, this phrase makes you sound more natural. Repeat. That would be great. Perfect. Next phrase. Sorry to bother you, but. This is very polite when you need to interrupt or ask for help. For example, sorry to bother you, but could you tell me where the station is? Sorry to bother you, but I need your advice. It shows respect for the other person's time. Repeat. Sorry to bother you, but. Wonderful. One more phrase for this part. I owe you one. This is a friendly way to say thank you and show that you want to return the favor. For example, Thanks for helping me with my homework. I owe you one. You saved me a lot of time. I owe you one. It's a natural way to show gratitude. Repeat. I owe you one. Excellent. Now, let's review the phrases we learned in this part. Would you mind? Do you happen to? I was wondering if. Can I give you a hand? I'd really appreciate it if. That would be great. Sorry to bother you. But. I owe you one. Let's see them in a short example conversation. Sorry to bother you. But. Do you happen to know where the cafeteria is? Yes, I can show you. Would you mind waiting a moment? Of course. I'd really appreciate it if you could. No problem. By the way, do you need help carrying those books? Oh, can you give me a hand? That would be great. I owe you one. See how polite, friendly, and natural this conversation feels. Using these phrases makes your English sound smoother and more professional. Remember, the key to fast fluency is not about speaking quickly, but about speaking naturally. These polite and useful expressions help you connect with people in a respectful way, which is very important in real life. We are going to focus on phrases for showing emotions and feelings. These will help you express happiness, surprise, frustration, or even disappointment in a natural way. This is how you bring life and personality into your English. We practiced polite expressions for daily situations, like, would you mind? And sorry to bother you. But those phrases help you make requests and offer help politely. Now, in this part, we are going to focus on phrases for showing emotions and feelings. These will help you sound more human, more expressive, and more natural in English conversations. Let's start with our first phrase. I'm over the moon. This phrase means you are extremely happy. Instead of always saying, I'm very happy, you can say, I passed the exam, and I'm over the moon. She was over the moon when she got the job. This expression makes your English sound colorful and alive. Repeat with me. I'm over the moon. Good. Next phrase. I'm feeling under the weather. This is a common way to say you feel a little sick or unwell. For example, I'm not coming to work today. I'm feeling under the weather. She's under the weather, so she stayed home. It's softer than saying I'm sick. Repeat. I'm feeling under the weather. Excellent. Now let's try another one. That made my day. This phrase is used when something small or big makes you very happy. For example, thanks for the coffee. That made my day. Your message really made my day. It's a beautiful way to show appreciation. Repeat. That made my day. Wonderful. Here's another one. I'm fed up with. This means you are tired of something or annoyed. For example, I'm fed up with the traffic. He's fed up with waiting. It's stronger than just saying, I don't like. Repeat after me. I'm fed up with. Good. Now, let's move to a positive expression. I'm really into. We learned earlier, I'm not really into for things you don't like. Now, let's use the positive form. For example, I'm really into photography. I'm really into learning English these days. It's a natural way to talk about your hobbies or interests. Repeat. I'm really into. Excellent! Next phrase. That drives me crazy. This can be used in both a positive and negative way. Negative. The noise outside drives me crazy. Positive. She drives me crazy in a good way. It's very common in real conversations. Repeat. That drives me crazy. Good. Another expression. I can't get enough of. This means you really love something and want more of it. For example, I can't get enough of this song. I can't get enough of traveling. It's much more expressive than just saying I like. Repeat. I can't get enough of. Perfect. One more for this part. I'm blown away. This means you are extremely impressed or surprised in a positive way. For example, I was blown away by the performance. That movie really blew me away. It's an emotional and advanced phrase that makes your English sound powerful. Repeat. I'm blown away. Excellent. Now, let's review the emotional phrases from this part. I'm over the moon. I'm feeling under the weather. That made my day. I'm fed up with. I'm really into. That drives me crazy. I can't get enough of. I'm blown away. Here's a quick example conversation using some of them. How was your holiday? It was amazing. I'm over the moon. Wow, sounds great. I can't get enough of traveling too. Yeah, but the flight delays really drove me crazy. I get that. But at the end, if it made you happy, it's worth it. See how emotions make the conversation more real and alive. This is how native speakers express themselves, not only with facts, but with feelings. Remember, English is not only about grammar, it's about expressing who you are. When you share your feelings naturally, people connect with you more easily. We are going to learn phrases for problem solving and giving advice. These will help you in real situations when things go wrong, or when you need to guide someone politely and clearly. We focused on phrases for showing emotions, like I'm over the moon, and that made my day. These help you express yourself in a natural and colorful way. Now, in this part, we are going to focus on phrases for problem solving and giving advice. These are especially useful in real life when you need to deal with challenges, make suggestions, or guide someone politely. Let's begin with our first phrase. Why don't you? This is a friendly and natural way to give advice or make a suggestion. For example, why don't you take a short break? Why don't you ask your teacher for help? It sounds more helpful and polite than saying you should. Repeat after me. Why don't you? Good. Next phrase. You might want to. This is a soft and polite way to suggest something. For example, you might want to double check that email before sending it. You might want to try speaking a little slower. It's very natural and makes your advice sound gentle. Repeat. You might want to. Excellent. Now, let's learn another one. Have you tried? This is a great way to suggest a possible solution. For example, have you tried restarting your computer? Have you tried practicing with a language partner? It's friendly, polite, and useful in everyday conversations. Repeat. Have you tried? Wonderful. Another phrase. It wouldn't hurt to. This means that doing something might help, and there's no risk in trying. For example, it wouldn't hurt to review your notes before the test. It wouldn't hurt to bring an umbrella, just in case. It's a very natural expression for giving advice. Repeat. It wouldn't hurt to. Good. Next phrase. It's worth a shot. This is used when you want to encourage someone to try something, even if you're not sure it will work. For example, I'm not sure this idea will work, but it's worth a shot. You could apply for the job. It's worth a shot. It's a positive and motivating phrase. Repeat. It's worth a shot. Excellent. Now let's try another one. What do you have to lose? This is used to encourage someone to try something because there is no big risk. For example, you should try speaking with native speakers. What do you have to lose? Apply for the scholarship. What do you have to lose? It's an encouraging and supportive phrase. Repeat. What do you have to lose? Perfect. Another phrase is, let's figure it out. This is a positive and cooperative way to say that you will solve a problem together. For example, don't worry about the project. Let's figure it out. We don't know the answer yet, but we'll figure it out. It shows teamwork and confidence. Repeat. Let's figure it out. Wonderful. And one more phrase for this part. I'll see what I can do. This is a polite way to say you will try to help, but you cannot guarantee the result. For example, can you finish this report today? I'll see what I can do. It's very common in both work and daily conversations. Repeat. I'll see what I can do. Excellent. Now, let's review the problem-solving and advice phrases we learned in this part. Why don't you? You might want to. Have you tried? It wouldn't hurt to. It's worth a shot. What do you have to lose? Let's figure it out. I'll see what I can do. Let's hear a short example conversation using some of them. I'm having trouble improving my English listening skills. Have you tried watching English movies with subtitles? Yes, but it's still hard. Why don't you try listening to podcasts while walking? It wouldn't hurt to try. That's a good idea. I'll see what I can do. See how natural and supportive this conversation feels. These phrases make your English sound kind, helpful, and realistic. Remember, fluency is not just about speaking quickly. It's also about responding naturally in real-life situations. And when problems come up, these expressions give you the tools to handle them like a native speaker. We will move on to phrases for agreeing, disagreeing, and negotiating. These are extremely useful in discussions, meetings, or even simple conversations when you want to share your ideas politely and clearly. We worked on phrases for problem solving and giving advice. You learned expressions like, why don't you? It's worth a shot. And I'll see what I can do. These are fantastic tools for real-life communication. Now, in this part, we will focus on phrases for agreeing, disagreeing, and negotiating. These are very important because in conversations, you will not always agree with everyone. Sometimes you will agree, sometimes you will disagree, and sometimes you will need to find a middle ground. Learning how to do this politely and naturally is the key to fast fluency. Let's start with phrases for agreeing. The first phrase is, "That's a good point." This is an excellent way to show agreement and respect. For example, "I think we should start earlier tomorrow." That's a good point. It's simple, polite, and natural. Repeat. That's a good point. Excellent. Another phrase. "I couldn't agree more." This means you agree 100%. For example, English practice every day is the best way to improve. I couldn't agree more. It shows strong agreement. Repeat. I couldn't agree more. Wonderful. Now let's move to phrases for partial agreement. Sometimes you want to agree a little, but not completely. Phrase. I see what you mean. But, for example, we should just skip practice today. I see what you mean. But consistency is important. This shows respect while gently disagreeing. Repeat. I see what you mean. But, good. Another phrase. You have a point. However, for example, we should spend all our time on grammar. You have a point. However, vocabulary is just as important. It's polite and balanced. Repeat. You have a point. However, great. Now let's move to disagreeing politely. Phrase. I'm not so sure about that. This is a gentle way to disagree without sounding rude. For example, learning English is only about memorizing words. I'm not so sure about that. It keeps the conversation friendly. Repeat. I'm not so sure about that. Excellent. Another phrase. I'm afraid I don't agree. This is polite but clear. For example, we don't need to practice speaking. I'm afraid I don't agree. It's very common in professional conversations. Repeat. I'm afraid I don't agree. Wonderful. Now let's look at phrases for negotiating or finding a compromise. Phrase. How about we? This is a useful way to suggest a middle ground. For example, how about we study for 30 minutes today and 30 minutes tomorrow? How about we meet halfway? Repeat. How about we? Perfect. Another phrase. Let's meet in the middle. This means to compromise, to find balance between two opinions. For example, you want 2 hours? I want 1 hour. Let's meet in the middle and study for 90 minutes. It's a very natural phrase. Repeat. Let's meet in the middle. Good. Another one. Can we find a solution that works for both of us? This is polite and professional. Great for work or teamwork. For example, can we find a solution that works for both of us? It shows cooperation. Repeat. Can we find a solution that works for both of us? Excellent. Now let's put some of these together in a mini example. Person A. We should only focus on grammar rules. Person B. I see what you mean. But vocabulary is also important. Person A, maybe, but I think grammar's everything. Person B, I'm afraid I don't agree. How about we meet in the middle? We can study grammar today and vocabulary tomorrow. This is how real English works in discussions. Polite, balanced, and clear. Let's review what we learned in this part. Agreeing. That's a good point. I couldn't agree more. Partial agreement. I see what you mean. But you have a point. However, disagreeing politely. I'm not so sure about that. I'm afraid I don't agree. Negotiating. How about let's meet in the middle. Can we find a solution that works for both of us? When you use these expressions, you show respect, confidence, and fluency. We will move on to phrases for daily communication and social interactions. These are extremely useful in casual conversations, friendships, and everyday life. We explored powerful phrases for agreeing, disagreeing, and negotiating. Those are essential tools for keeping conversations polite, balanced, and professional. Now, in this part, we are going to focus on phrases for daily communication and social interactions. These are the kinds of phrases you will use every single day when meeting people, chatting with friends, or simply being polite in everyday situations. Mastering them will make your English sound natural and fluent. Let's begin with greetings and casual openers. The first phrase is, "Long time no see." This is an informal and friendly way to greet someone you haven't seen in a while. For example, "Hey, long time no see. How have you been?" It's common in everyday English. Repeat after me. Long time no see. Great. Another friendly phrase is, "What have you been up to?" This is a natural way to ask what someone has been doing recently. For example, "Hi Sarah, what have you been up to?" "Oh, just working and studying." It's warmer than just asking, "How are you?" Repeat, "What have you been up to?" Wonderful. Now let's look at casual conversation fillers. Phrase, "You know what I mean?" This is often used when you want to check that someone understands. For example, learning English takes time. You know what I mean? Repeat, "You know what I mean?" Excellent. Another casual phrase, "Guess what?" This is used when you are excited to share news. For example, "Guess what? I passed my English exam." "Guess what? I got a new job." It makes your conversation sound energetic. Repeat, "Guess what?" Perfect. Now let's look at polite phrases for daily interactions. Phrase, "Would you mind if I?" This is very polite when you want to ask for permission. For example, "Would you mind if I opened the window?" "Would you mind if I borrowed your pen?" It sounds much more respectful than simply asking, "Can I?" Repeat, "Would you mind if I?" Great. Another one, "I really appreciate it." This is a very natural way to thank someone. For example, "Thanks for helping me with my homework. I really appreciate it." It sounds sincere and kind. Repeat, "I really appreciate it." Good. Phrase, "That's very kind of you." This is another polite way to respond when someone helps you. For example, "Here, let me carry that for you." "Oh, that's very kind of you." It makes you sound warm and friendly. Repeat, "That's very kind of you." Excellent. Now let's look at phrases for showing interest in conversation. Phrase, "Really? Tell me more." This is simple, but it makes people feel that you care about their story. For example, "I just came back from Italy." "Really? Tell me more." Repeat, "Really? Tell me more." Perfect. Another phrase, "That sounds interesting." This shows that you are engaged in the conversation. For example, "I'm learning to play the guitar." "Wow, that sounds interesting." Repeat, "That sounds interesting." Good. Phrase, "No way." This is casual and often used to express surprise. For example, "I just met a famous actor yesterday." "No way." It makes conversations lively and fun. Repeat. No way. Wonderful. Now let's practice a small example conversation. Hey, long time no see. What have you been up to? Oh, I've been busy with work. Guess what? I just got promoted. No way. That's amazing. Congratulations. Thanks. I really appreciate it. That's very kind of you. So, are you happy with your new role? Yeah. It's exciting. You know what I mean? That sounds interesting. Tell me more. See how natural and friendly this sounds. These are the kinds of phrases that help you connect with people in real life. Let's quickly review what we learned in this part. Long time no see. What have you been up to? You know what I mean? Guess what? Would you mind if I really appreciate it. That's very kind of you. Really? Tell me more. That sounds interesting. No way. Each of these expressions will help you build strong, natural, and friendly conversations. We are going to focus on phrases for handling formal situations, like business meetings, interviews, and professional communication. These are very important if you want to use English in school, at work, or in international environments. We practiced phrases for daily communication and social interactions. You learned expressions like long time no see. Would you mind if and no way. These help you sound natural in casual conversations. Now, in this part, we will focus on phrases for formal situations. These are very useful in professional settings, such as business meetings, interviews, presentations, or even writing polite emails. Mastering these will make you sound confident, respectful, and professional. Let's begin with formal greetings. Phrase. It's a pleasure to meet you. This is a polite way to greet someone new, often used in interviews or business contexts. For example, good morning. It's a pleasure to meet you. It shows respect and professionalism. Repeat after me. It's a pleasure to meet you. Excellent. Another formal greeting. Thank you for taking the time to meet with me. This is perfect for business meetings or interviews. For example, thank you for taking the time to meet with me today. I really appreciate it. It makes you sound polite and thoughtful. Repeat. Thank you for taking the time to meet with me. Great. Now let's look at formal ways to give your opinion. Phrase. From my perspective. This is a professional way to introduce your opinion. For example, from my perspective, improving communication is the key to success. Repeat. From my perspective, good. Another phrase. I'd like to add that this is polite when you want to contribute to a discussion. For example, I'd like to add that teamwork is also important in this project. Repeat. I'd like to add that. Excellent. Now let's move to formal ways of agreeing or disagreeing. Phrase. I completely agree with your point. For example, I completely agree with your point about focusing on customer needs. Repeat. I completely agree with your point. Wonderful. Another phrase. I see your point. However, this is professional and polite when you want to disagree. For example, I see your point. However, we also need to consider the budget. Repeat. I see your point. However, good. Now let's practice polite requests. Phrase. Would it be possible to, for example, would it be possible to reschedule the meeting? This is softer and more formal than simply saying, can we reschedule? Repeat. Would it be possible to? Excellent. Another polite phrase. I'd appreciate it if, for example, I'd appreciate it if you could send me the report by tomorrow. It sounds professional and respectful. Repeat. I'd appreciate it if. Wonderful. Now let's look at formal ways to end conversations. Phrase. I look forward to working with you. For example, thank you for the meeting. I look forward to working with you. Repeat. I look forward to working with you. Great. Another phrase. Please don't hesitate to contact me. For example, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. It's common in professional emails. Repeat. Please don't hesitate to contact me. Perfect. Now let's practice a short professional style conversation. Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to meet you. Good afternoon. Thank you for taking the time to meet with me. From my perspective, we should focus on customer service first. I see your point. However, I'd like to add that we must also improve product quality. That's a valid point. Would it be possible to schedule a follow-up meeting? Yes, absolutely. I look forward to working with you. See how professional, polite, and confident this conversation sounds. These are the exact kinds of phrases you can use in real-life formal situations. Let's review the phrases from this part. It's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for taking the time to meet with me. From my perspective, I'd like to add that I completely agree with your point. I see your point. However, would it be possible to, I'd appreciate it if, I look forward to working with you. Please don't hesitate to contact me. By practicing these, you'll be ready to handle interviews, meetings, and any formal interaction with confidence. We will explore phrases for travel and international situations. These are extremely useful when you travel abroad, at the airport, in hotels, or in restaurants. We focused on phrases for formal situations such as interviews, meetings, and professional conversations. You learned expressions like "from my perspective." Would it be possible to, and I look forward to working with you. These are powerful tools for sounding confident in business or academic settings. Now, in this part, we will shift to something many of you will find very practical phrases for travel and international situations. Whether you are at the airport, checking into a hotel, ordering food, or asking for directions. These expressions will make your experience smoother and less stressful. Let's begin with airport and flight phrases. Phrase: where is the check-in counter? This is useful when you arrive at the airport and don't know where to check in. For example, excuse me, where is the check-in counter for flight 234? Repeat after me. Where is the check-in counter? Excellent. Another common phrase: could you help me with my luggage? This is polite and helpful when asking airport staff for assistance. For example, excuse me, could you help me with my luggage? Repeat. Could you help me with my luggage? Good. Phrase: what time does boarding start? This is useful if you want to know when to go to the gate. For example, excuse me, what time does boarding start for this flight? Repeat. What time does boarding start? Perfect. Now let's move on to hotel phrases. Phrase: I have a reservation under the name. For example, I have a reservation under the name Tran. Repeat. I have a reservation under the name. Great. Another useful phrase: could I have a wake-up call at, for example, could I have a wake-up call at 6 a.m. tomorrow? Repeat. Could I have a wake-up call at? Excellent. Phrase: is breakfast included? For example, excuse me, is breakfast included with my room? Repeat. Is breakfast included? Wonderful. Now let's look at restaurant phrases. Phrase: could I see the menu? Please. For example, could I see the menu? Please. This is polite and very common. Repeat. Could I see the menu? Please. Good. Phrase: I'd like to order. For example, I'd like to order the grilled chicken. Repeat. I'd like to order. Perfect. Another phrase: could we have the bill? Please. This is used at the end of the meal. For example, excuse me, could we have the bill? Please. Repeat. Could we have the bill? Please. Excellent. Now let's look at asking for directions. Phrase: excuse me, how do I get to? For example, excuse me, how do I get to the train station? Repeat. Excuse me, how do I get to? Great. Another phrase: is it far from here? For example, is it far from here to the museum? Repeat. Is it far from here? Good. Phrase. Could you show me on the map? For example, could you show me on the map where this place is? Repeat. Could you show me on the map? Perfect. Now let's practice a short example conversation for travel. Traveler. Excuse me. Where is the check-in counter for Flight 234? Staff. It's over there, next to security. Traveler. Thank you. Also, what time does boarding start? Staff. At 7:15. Traveler. Great. Could you help me with my luggage? Later at the hotel. Hello. I have a reservation under the name Nguyen. Welcome. Here's your room key. Thank you. Could I have a wake-up call at 6 a.m.? Also, is breakfast included? Yes, it is. Later at the restaurant. Could I see the menu? Please. Yes, of course. I'd like to order the pasta. And could we have the bill? Please? After the meal. Later asking for directions. Excuse me, how do I get to the city center? Take the bus straight ahead. Is it far from here? Not really. I can show you on the map. Thank you so much. This is real English for real life. Let's review the phrases from this part. Where is the check-in counter? Could you help me with my luggage? What time does boarding start? I have a reservation under the name. Could I have a wake-up call at? Is breakfast included? Could I see the menu? Please. I'd like to order. Could we have the bill? Please. Excuse me. How do I get to? Is it far from here? Could you show me on the map? By practicing these, you will be ready to travel confidently and communicate naturally in English anywhere in the world. We will explore phrases for emergencies and urgent situations. These are very important to know, even though we hope you never have to use them. We practiced useful phrases for travel and international situations. You learned expressions like I have a reservation under the name. Could we have the bill? Please. And excuse me, how do I get to? These are practical tools for making your trip smoother and less stressful. Now, in this part, we will focus on something very important. Phrases for emergencies and urgent situations. Of course, we hope you never need to use them, but being prepared can make a huge difference. In emergencies, communication must be clear, simple, and direct. Let's go through some of the most useful phrases. Let's begin with asking for help. Phrase, I need help right away. This is strong and clear. Use it when you need immediate assistance. For example, I need help right away. My friend is hurt. Repeat after me. I need help right away. Excellent. Another urgent phrase. Call an ambulance. For example, call an ambulance. Someone is injured. Repeat. Call an ambulance. Good. Phrase. Can you call the police? For example, can you call the police? My bag was stolen. Repeat. Can you call the police? Perfect. Now let's look at medical emergencies. Phrase. I'm not feeling well. This is a simple way to communicate that you need medical attention. For example, excuse me, I'm not feeling well. Can you help me find a doctor? Repeat. I'm not feeling well. Good. Another phrase. I need a doctor. For example, excuse me, I need a doctor. Where is the nearest hospital? Repeat. I need a doctor. Excellent. Phrase. Is there a pharmacy nearby? For example, I need some medicine. Is there a pharmacy nearby? Repeat. Is there a pharmacy nearby? Wonderful. Now let's look at emergencies while traveling. Phrase. I lost my passport. For example, excuse me, I lost my passport. Can you tell me where the embassy is? Repeat. I lost my passport. Good. Another phrase. I need to contact my embassy. For example, I need to contact my embassy immediately. Repeat. I need to contact my embassy. Excellent. Phrase. My wallet was stolen. For example, excuse me, my wallet was stolen. Can you help me? Repeat. My wallet was stolen. Perfect. Now let's move to fire or dangerous situations. Phrase. There's a fire. For example, there's a fire. We need to get out. Repeat. There's a fire. Good. Another phrase. We need to evacuate. For example, we need to evacuate immediately. Follow me. Repeat. We need to evacuate. Excellent. Phrase. Stay calm. Everything will be okay. This is useful when you want to reassure others during an emergency. For example, stay calm. Everything will be okay. Help is on the way. Repeat. Stay calm. Everything will be okay. Wonderful. Now let's practice a short example conversation in an emergency. Excuse me. I need help right away. My friend is not feeling well. Okay. I'll call an ambulance. Thank you. Please hurry. Don't worry. Everything will be okay. Help is coming. And another example for travel. Excuse me. My wallet was stolen. Can you call the police? Of course. Do you also need to contact your embassy? Yes. I lost my passport too. I need to contact my embassy immediately. These are real-life situations where quick, clear English is essential. Let's review the emergency phrases from this part. I need help right away. Call an ambulance. Can you call the police? I'm not feeling well. I need a doctor. Is there a pharmacy nearby? I lost my passport. I need to contact my embassy. My wallet was stolen. There's a fire. We need to evacuate. Stay calm. Everything will be okay. By practicing these phrases, you'll be prepared to handle difficult or dangerous situations with confidence. Remember, in emergencies, simple and direct communication is the most important. We will move on to something more positive. Phrases for education, study, and learning environments. These are useful if you are a student, attending classes, or studying abroad. We covered phrases for emergencies, important tools for staying safe and communicating clearly when something urgent happens. Now, let's move into a more positive and useful area. Phrases for education, study, and learning environments. If you are a student, attending school, studying abroad, or even learning online, you will need specific English phrases to communicate effectively with teachers, classmates, and in academic situations. Let's go step by step. First, let's talk about asking for clarification in class. Phrase. Could you explain that again? Please. For example, excuse me. Could you explain that again? Please. I didn't understand the last part. Repeat after me. Could you explain that again? Please. Good. Another phrase. What does this word mean? For example, sorry. What does this word mean in English? Repeat. What does this word mean? Excellent. Phrase. How do you spell that? For example, excuse me. How do you spell that word? Repeat. How do you spell that? Perfect. Now let's move on to participating in discussions. Phrase. I'd like to share my opinion. For example, I'd like to share my opinion about the article we read. Repeat. I'd like to share my opinion. Good. Another phrase. I agree with that point. For example, I agree with that point. It makes a lot of sense. Repeat. I agree with that point. Excellent. Phrase. I'm not sure I understand. For example, I'm not sure I understand. Could you give me another example? Repeat. I'm not sure I understand. Wonderful. Now let's look at asking for help from teachers or classmates. Phrase. Could you help me with this problem? For example, excuse me. Could you help me with this math problem? Repeat. Could you help me with this problem? Good. Another phrase. Can you explain this part to me? For example, can you explain this part to me? I find it confusing. Repeat. Can you explain this part to me? Excellent. Phrase. Could we study together? For example, could we study together before the exam? Repeat. Could we study together? Perfect. Now let's focus on phrases for exams and assignments. Phrase. When is the deadline? For example, excuse me, when is the deadline for this assignment? Repeat, when is the deadline? Good. Another phrase. How many questions are on the test? For example, how many questions are on the test tomorrow? Repeat, how many questions are on the test? Excellent. Phrase. Is this going to be on the exam? For example, teacher. Is this topic going to be on the exam? Repeat. Is this going to be on the exam? Perfect. Now let's practice a short classroom conversation. Excuse me, could you explain that again? Please. Of course. Let me explain in another way. Thank you. I understand now. Another example. When is the deadline for the assignment? The deadline is next Friday. Great. Thank you. And one more. Could we study together before the test? Yes. That's a good idea. Let's meet tomorrow. These simple but powerful phrases make you sound confident and active in any learning environment. Now let's review the key phrases from this part. Could you explain that again? Please. What does this word mean? How do you spell that? I'd like to share my opinion. I agree with that point. I'm not sure I understand. Could you help me with this problem? Can you explain this part to me? Could we study together? When is the deadline? How many questions are on the test? Is this going to be on the exam? If you are learning English now, practicing these phrases will help you feel more confident in any classroom, online course, or self-study situation. Remember, good communication is not only about knowing the right words, it is also about asking questions and staying engaged. We will move on to another very important area. Phrases for business and professional communication. These are useful for interviews, meetings, and workplace situations. We focused on phrases for education and learning environments. You practiced asking for clarification, participating in discussions, and communicating with teachers or classmates. Now, let's move into another very practical area. Phrases for business and professional communication. Whether you are preparing for a job interview, joining a meeting, or working in an office, using the right English expressions will make you sound professional, confident, and clear. Let's explore these step by step. Let's start with job interviews. Phrase, thank you for giving me this opportunity. For example, thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm excited to be here today. Repeat after me. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Good. Another phrase. I have experience in this field. For example, I have experience in this field. I worked as a project manager for 3 years. Repeat. I have experience in this field. Excellent. Phrase. I believe I can contribute to your team. For example, I believe I can contribute to your team with my skills and motivation. Repeat. I believe I can contribute to your team. Perfect. Now let's move to business meetings. Phrase. Let's get started. For example, good morning, everyone. Let's get started with today's meeting. Repeat. Let's get started. Good. Another phrase. Could you clarify that point? For example, excuse me, could you clarify that point about the budget? Repeat. Could you clarify that point? Excellent. Phrase. Let's move on to the next item. For example, we've finished discussing the first topic. Let's move on to the next item. Repeat. Let's move on to the next item. Wonderful. Now let's practice presenting ideas. Phrase. I would like to suggest. For example, I would like to suggest a new strategy for marketing. Repeat. I would like to suggest. Good. Another phrase. In my opinion. For example, in my opinion, we should invest more in online advertising. Repeat. In my opinion. Excellent. Phrase. That's a great point. For example, that's a great point. I agree with your idea. Repeat. That's a great point. Perfect. Now let's look at professional email or workplace communication. Phrase. I look forward to your response. For example, thank you for your time. I look forward to your response. Repeat. I look forward to your response. Good. Another phrase. Please let me know if you have any questions. For example, please let me know if you have any questions about the report. Repeat. Please let me know if you have any questions. Excellent. Phrase. Thank you for your support. For example, thank you for your support on this project. Repeat. Thank you for your support. Perfect. Now let's practice a short professional conversation. Good morning, everyone. Let's get started with today's meeting. Excuse me, could you clarify that point about the budget? Of course. Let me explain in more detail. That's a great point. I agree with your explanation. Let's move on to the next item. Another example, in an email style. Dear Mr. Smith, thank you for your support on this project. Please let me know if you have any questions. I look forward to your response. These simple but professional phrases make communication smoother and more respectful in the workplace. Now let's review the key phrases from this part. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I have experience in this field. I believe I can contribute to your team. Let's get started. Could you clarify that point? Let's move on to the next item. I would like to suggest, in my opinion, that's a great point. I look forward to your response. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you for your support. By mastering these, you'll feel more confident in professional environments. Remember, clear and polite communication builds trust and respect. We will explore phrases for technology and online communication very useful in today's digital world, where so many conversations happen through phones, emails, and video calls. We focused on business and professional communication phrases for job interviews, meetings, and workplace conversations. Those are essential if you want to sound confident and professional. Now, let's move to something that has become a part of almost everyone's life today. Phrases for technology and online communication. Most of us use English daily when we send emails, chat online, attend video calls, or even post on social media. Knowing the right phrases will make your digital communication clear, polite, and effective. Let's begin with sending emails. Phrase. I hope this email finds you well. For example, Dear Professor, I hope this email finds you well. I am writing to ask about the assignment deadline. Repeat after me. I hope this email finds you well. Good. Another phrase. I am writing to. For example, I am writing to request more information about your course. Repeat. I am writing to. Excellent. Phrase. Thank you for your quick response. For example, thank you for your quick response to my question. Repeat. Thank you for your quick response. Perfect. Now let's look at online chatting. Phrase. Can you hear me clearly? For example, Hi everyone. Can you hear me clearly in this video call? Repeat. Can you hear me clearly? Good. Another phrase. Please wait a moment. My connection is slow. For example, please wait a moment. My connection is slow. I'll be back in a second. Repeat. Please wait a moment. My connection is slow. Excellent. Phrase. Let's schedule a call. For example, let's schedule a call tomorrow to discuss the details. Repeat. Let's schedule a call. Perfect. Now let's practice sharing files or documents online. Phrase. I'll send you the file as an attachment. For example, I'll send you the file as an attachment in the email. Repeat. I'll send you the file as an attachment. Good. Another phrase. Could you share the link with me? For example, could you share the link with me to join the meeting? Repeat. Could you share the link with me? Excellent. Phrase. The document is uploaded. For example, the document is uploaded. Please check it when you have time. Repeat. The document is uploaded. Wonderful. Now let's look at social media communication. Phrase. Thanks for your comment. For example, thanks for your comment. I really appreciate your feedback. Repeat. Thanks for your comment. Good. Another phrase. Feel free to share this post. For example, feel free to share this post with your friends. Repeat. Feel free to share this post. Excellent. Phrase. Let's stay connected. For example, it was nice meeting you online. Let's stay connected. Repeat. Let's stay connected. Perfect. Now let's practice some short digital communication conversations. Conversation 1. Hi, can you hear me clearly? Yes, but your connection is a little slow. Please wait a moment. My connection is slow. I'll reconnect. Conversation 2. Could you share the link with me for the meeting? Yes, I'll send it to you right now. Great. Thank you. Conversation 3. Thanks for your comment on my post. You're welcome. Let's stay connected. These phrases may seem small, but they are very powerful in online communication. They help you avoid confusion, save time, and build stronger relationships in digital spaces. Now let's review the key phrases from this part. I hope this email finds you well. I am writing to. Thank you for your quick response. Can you hear me clearly? Please wait a moment. My connection is slow. Let's schedule a call. I'll send you the file as an attachment. Could you share the link with me? The document is uploaded. Thanks for your comment. Feel free to share this post. Let's stay connected. By practicing these, you'll feel more confident every time you communicate online, whether it's professional emails, casual chats, or social media posts. We'll move to the final section of this long training video. We will review everything you've learned and finish with a collection of powerful advanced phrases that will help you sound fluent and natural in almost any real-life situation. Welcome back, and congratulations for staying with me all the way until now. You've completed a very long and powerful training session, and I'm so proud of you for committing to your English learning. In the last part, we focused on technology and online communication. You learned useful expressions for emails, video calls, and social media. Now, in this final part, we will bring everything together. We will review the key ideas, highlight the most useful phrases, and then I'll share a collection of advanced phrases that will help you sound fluent, natural, and confident in almost any real-life situation. Think of this part as your final